All right, we have our movie critic, Jim Hunter, which is getting hard to say these days because it's just
giving
there.
you new nicknames.
I know, every time I turn around, we're giving you a new nickname somehow, and it's unintentional.
I understand this. I was waiting to see what this week's nickname would be. So,
well, let's check out the box office and see how things have done since the past week since we last talked to you.
Let's do it. Topping the box office is, of course, Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness. That is $61.7 million, but that is a 67% drop, which is not good. $61.7 million is nothing to sneeze at, but the 67% drop, there was a lot of sort of disinformation on the internet about this, or people saying this is the biggest drop ever and this is terrible and blah, 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 blah. And some of that is it's certainly a larger than normal drop, and I think folks at Disney would probably like to see something above $100 million in the second weekend. But one of the things that we've seen in the MCU, the Marvel Cinematic Universe, is that the second week drop on films that are released after 2020, sort of pandemic era films, those all have the highest drops in the MCU. And as we remember, Spider-Man No Way Home certainly that was doing all right. So
yeah, really.
Just because Doctor Strange has dropped, a significant amount is not necessarily reason for the types of hand-wringing and doomsaying that I saw over the course of the week on the internet.
But it really seems, though, the money, even from opening to now, has not really been kind of on par.
Yeah, it's a little less than I think some projections were. It's certainly tracking less than Spider-Man No Way Home. But then the question is do you really want to compare it to a once-in-a-generation movie like Spider-Man No Way Home, which was this huge event film and ended up setting all kinds of records?
Yeah,
and so
right.
Is that a sort of unfair comparison?
In a way, I guess, yeah. I mean, you can see that, sure.
I mean, I think that's what the Doctor Strange 2 defenders would say, and of course the detractors are saying that this is a lower than expected opening and hold. So
all right, well, let's talk about some movies that you've got through on your list here.
Yeah, so we've got 2 new movies opening. I'm only doing, unfortunately, only one segment. I'm only with you once today, and the reason for that is that there are only 2 new movies opening in the tri-state area. The first is Downton Abbey: A New Era. This is a
Gretchen's a fan.
Getting some applause in the background there. Directed by Simon Curtis, Hugh Bonneville and Michelle Dockery return, as well as, of course, Maggie Smith. Dominic West joins the cast, and the plot of this film is a film crew is coming to Downton, and Lady Grantham also receives Maggie Smith's character receives a villa in the south of France, which then sparks rumors about her past. This is being recommended at an 84% rate on Rotten Tomatoes by other critics who say that there's nothing really new here for fans of the franchise, but fans of the franchise will be quite pleased. I myself am not a fan of this franchise. I saw the first Downton Abbey movie. I didn't watch the show all that much. And for me, I found many of the conflicts to be relatively low stakes. There's a conflict between Mary and an upstart director who's directing the film that I found to be a little bit predictable. But overall, I think thematically this film is about how class and sexual mobility is mobility in terms of sexuality and freedom for a particular LGBTQ character, that is something that is in the lower classes and not so much in the upper classes, that they are the ones that the new era represents this mobility and this ability, this bit of freedom, which I think is sort of goes against some of the other things that we think of when we think of Downton Abbey. So in that way, I thought that there was something new here for me, who, as I say, am not really a fan of this. Ultimately, I am recommending this film, but at a low, 3-star rate. I think that it's good for fans of the franchise, and even new entrants, I think, could find some things to enjoy about this.
All right. We have like a minute left, and this movie is just titled Men. I mean, it could go anywhere with that title.
Well, Men is written and directed by Alex Garland, who's one of the most exciting horror and science fiction directors of our time. He did Ex Machina, he did Annihilation. Both of those are some of my favorite films. Obviously, this is from A24, right? So this film stars Jessie Buckley, Rory Kinnear, and Papa Essiedu, and it is the story of a woman after the death of her husband goes to the country in order to heal from the personal tragedy, and she finds herself stalked while there. So this is one of the more exciting horror dramas of the year. I'll be back with my review next week.
I was going to ask. That looks like it's A24. You're going to go see that one, right?
I almost flip-flopped Downton Abbey and did the review for Men tonight. So.